after the Gaza war, there were a number of different votes here in the UK, in Spain, in France. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Well, that's a remarkable after effect, I think, of the attack on Gaza. Of course, the Israelis, with their overwhelming military might, were always going to win the battle in Gaza, but they lost the propaganda war, they lost the political war. After all, European Parliament after European Parliament, Sweden, Ireland, France, Spain, the UK, all voted to recognise the Palestinian state, and that's a watershed moment for the Palestinian supporters, I think.
Since the declaration of a state of Palestine by the PLO in 1988, the diplomatic battle over the recognition of a Palestinian state has been a focal point for pro-Palestinian activists around the world, as many feel that such recognition of the state on the 1967 borders would make the ongoing Israeli policy of settlements in the West Bank untenable. By 2014, the vast majority of world nations recognized a Palestinian state. However, most Western and EU nations still did not. In September, general elections in Sweden brought a minority centre-left government to power. The Swedish Social Democrats had long been sympathetic to the plight of Palestinians, and on October the 4th, one of the first acts of the new administration of Stefan Löfven was to formally recognise Palestine. The government's new foreign minister said she hoped the move would reinvigorate debate.
We've seen an escalation of settlements and violence in Jerusalem and on the West Bank. And we've seen in 6 years 3 wars in Gaza. We have also seen a radicalization of many young people who actually have only 2 choices, either accepting the situation as it is or taking to violent methods. And we believe that this is support for a peace process and negotiations.
While Eastern European countries like Poland and the Czech Republic had recognized Palestine before joining the EU in 2004, Sweden was the first incumbent member of the group to move to formal recognition. This was met with swift condemnation from the American and Israeli governments, who called the move premature and counterproductive. But the recognition by Sweden had opened up debate in other European countries on Palestinian statehood. On October the 13th, the British House of Commons held a non-binding vote on whether to recognise Palestine, against strong condemnation from the Israeli government. Former Foreign Secretary Jack Straw said that such condemnation showed that even a non-binding vote could still have an impact.
I believe that the fact of the Israelis' intemperate reaction to the very prospect of this House passing this resolution is proof that this resolution will make a difference. The only thing the Israeli government, in my view, under its present demeanour of Bibi Netanyahu, understands is pressure. And what this House will be doing this evening will be to add to the pressure on the government of Israel. That is why they're so worried about this resolution passing.
However, the Prime Minister David Cameron and most government ministers stayed away from the debate, with the government declaring that the vote did not change their position on the issue. The final motion was passed by 274 votes to 12. Similar non-binding and symbolic votes followed in the Spanish Parliament on November the 18th, the French Assembly on December the 2nd, and in the Irish Parliament on December the 11th. After many years of little debate, the concept of a Palestinian state was being debated openly in European legislatures.
No one was really expecting what the recognition of Palestine from the Swedish government actually meant. I think that at first it was more of a necessary symbolic act, but it turned out to be something pretty much different and pretty much stronger. As you mentioned, we could see all the European countries that followed. I mean, UK, one of them, and France, and so Ireland, and so on. And this has actually made a whole nother debate. And I'm really glad that Sweden was the first EU country to actually have the courage, so to say, to take that big step.
But the Israeli government remained strongly critical throughout the votes, with Benjamin Netanyahu saying that the countries holding these votes had no idea of the situation on the ground.
These twin needs of mutual recognition and solid security arrangements on the ground, which are so essential for peace, these are not addressed by the European countries that unilaterally give recognition to a Palestinian state. I think that's a big mistake for peace. It encourages the Palestinians to harden their positions, not to compromise on mutual recognition, not to compromise on the things that are needed to achieve genuine security.
The debate was also having an effect on other parts of European relations with Palestine. On December 17th, the European Union backed a compromise motion to support Palestinian statehood in principle, but did not go as far as Sweden in backing immediate recognition. The Palestinian government is now aiming for full membership of the UN, after being granted observer status 2 years ago. Palestine would need 9 of the 15 members of the UN Security Council to be fully admitted, and the United States and its allies have so far indicated that they would vote against the bid. Palestine still faces many obstacles to full diplomatic legitimacy, but in 2014, the debate about what Palestine is, or what it should be seen to be, was opened up, and looks set to continue into 2015. Nathaniel Amos-Sansam, The Report.